Okay, before Tatev comes, let's just start with me introducing you to why we even started this expert talks and how the idea came to us. So the thing is that we have recently started our vlog channel called Can You Hear Me? And during this talks with our SMM specialist slash copywriter Erica, we're talking about different digital marketing topics. We're covering mostly uh, anything that anyone interested in marketing would be willing to learn. Different levels of inclusion, meaning junior or middle skilled specialists, or even advanced. However, at some point we figured out that at different levels of you know experience, people would need more expertise, um, knowledge, opinions, etc. So that's how Expert Talks itself emerged, this whole phenomenon of us inviting experts in different fields of digital marketing, people who are very much specialized in one or other things. And for the first episode, we couldn't um, come up with a better topic than graphic design. Why graphic design? Because in our opinion, creatives and design overall is the foundation of digital marketing. Without creatives, we cannot create any ad campaigns. We cannot do any branding for any brand out there. So that's why we start with graphic design for our expert talks. For this webinar, we of course invited the friend of HBC, a very dear friend of HBC, Tatev Arshakyan, who is an experienced graphic designer and also a UI UX designer. Welcome, Tatev.
Hi, Susanna. It's nice to have a talk with you and our audience.
Likewise, I'm very happy that we're hosting you in our YouTube channel. And let me just ask you to introduce yourself in 2 words. Of course, I have mentioned that you are an expert in graphic design. However, if you'd like to say more, please.
Hi, I'm Tatev. I'm graphic designer and also UI UX designer. I'm working in this field for about 4 years, and it's really joyful. And I have connections with marketing specialists like Susanna, and it's very nice to work with her. And I'll try to share my experience with you and introduce some secrets and tips.
Thank you, Tatev. In fact, I have to say that Tatev has very extensive knowledge and experience working with international brands on international products. We have actually had a chance to work together, as Tatev mentioned, and I must say she's the best at what she does. That's why all the questions that I'm going to ask her during our webinar, these are thoroughly, chosen, and we have a reason why we're asking all these questions to Tatev. So let's start with the basics, as we usually do. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what are the design trends we can apply for our designs in 2022? So anyone who is joining our call right now, they are really interested in what's trendy in 2022.
It's beneficial to keep up with the latest graphic design trends and choose which ones to work in design. Graphic design, like other fields, is constantly changing, and it's crucial to follow up trends. Although trends come and go, new technologies emerges, and designer styles are either adapted or fade away completely. We should keep in mind that as trends are temporary, we should choose carefully them for long-term projects like branding or packaging. But trends can easily be used for social media templates to look fresh and stand out from the crowd. Some of the big potential graphic design trends this year are experimental typography, 2D and 3D design illustrations, logo simplification, and anti design and abstract geometrical backgrounds and patterns. And I can go through them and present each of them if you like.
Yes, of course. So please start with experimental typography.
Okay. Experimental typography, companies will keep trying to pull our attention towards their products and services. Experimental typography can make us sit up and pay attention. It's exciting seeing designers bend letters into forms and shapes that create their own language and turn put across their own visual message. The next one is 2D and 3D design.
Yes.
Um, a flat design, as we have seen before, had its moment, but in 2022, we're seeing more and more 2D and 3D illustrations and animations. And if you are having troubles in creating your own 2D and 3D graphics, there are many stocks and free resources that you can download and use them easily. The next one is logo
Let me
simplification.
just pause you here, if you don't mind. So we're talking about 2D, 3D, and I cannot not mention that we have ourselves prepared a lot of 2D products for our different clients, and you have seen them yourself, and you have approved them. Like the process of HBC working with 2D
Yeah.
designs was always getting your approval in the end. So I would like to ask you, what do you think of what we have achieved so far, and especially for one of our clients, IQFI, you have seen all the eight all the
Yeah.
8 2D videos we have created for them. So what do you think about it?
I think that 2D and 3D animations are great. They are dynamic and they grab attention, and it works very well. And we have a good experience in having these animations, and I think they worked well, and we are happy with the results. Yeah.
Yeah, we are actually. I would say those videos were initially created with um, with the with the mind of putting them as paid ads on Facebook, and they worked pretty well. Anyone joining us right now should know that 2D and 3D animations work just amazingly on paid ads, and videos overall are working amazingly on paid ads rather than just static images. So
Yes,
sorry
because
for
you are scrolling and see that steady pictures and then suddenly animation and pop-up colors and so on, it really works very well.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. So yeah, please go ahead and talk about logo simplification.
Uh-huh.
It's important.
The next trend for this year is logo simplification. In order to get a digital facelift and appear fresh and modern, experienced brands are smoothing on the details from their logos and brand graphics. Simplification of logos give your company update and will preserving the established brand reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
and
could you
yeah,
please bring
simplification
example?
is a forefront in graphic design.
Yeah, yeah. And could you please bring an example? I know that you have prepared the branding of a quite a big brand recently. You've just shared on your socials. It's Nice Cream brand, right?
Yeah.
Please tell us about like how you come up with logo out of blue.
The project was ice cream packaging, and I was inspired from Cuban colors from their country, their colors and atmosphere, and I was challenged to create a design that will bring the consumers the taste and atmosphere of Cuba. And the logo is just lettering form, yeah, with some dots, and this represent the ice cream splashes. And it's easy to use everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's one of the main purposes of logo, that it should be easy to put in every surface, in any sizes.
Mm-hmm. So
So here's the
here I am showing the audience what you are talking about, so that it makes sense. Makes sense. So here is the ice cream branding, like you have done with your colleagues. Um, and just tell us that how much homework you put into creating a logo. Like you do not just take uh, 10 minutes out of your busy schedule and create a logo out of nowhere, right? You research, you do a lot of homework beforehand.
As this is a group project, we have brainstorming with our team and come up with idea together. And then we do research for some colors, styles, and start to generate ideas. Then we put together our versions and choose the best one for go ahead.
I see. Okay. Thanks for sharing the example. And now let's talk about anti-design.
It's rather strange trend, I think. But
Graphic designer talking about anti-design.
yeah, but when you create a rule, someone's bound to break it, and this trend for anti-design will bring forth visuals that might, in the past, have been labeled ugly or awkward. Think asymmetry, chasing clashing colors, bland and overly busy designs, out of balance visuals, and more. And this design is rather subjective. Someone may find it pretty and someone may find it awkward, but it really will grab attention. So, this is the purpose of this trend.
I see.
The next one is abstract asymmetrical background and patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in this year, geometric shapes and patterns emerge as design trends to add richness to design. And designers will often use these shapes and backgrounds images and text. This will give more fullness to their designs and create space and hierarchy between the different elements that make up the visual. This is really a simple trend, and everyone can use the right colors and shape to create these abstract backgrounds.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and now that we have mentioned like the trends into 2022, would you please mention the trends that are already outdated in 2022?
Well, the first one I think will be illustrations featuring abstract concepts, flat or 3D. And this is the reason why. All apps and websites look pretty similar while using typical illustrations. And vector illustrations have many benefits for digital product developers and marketers. First, downloading them to the user's device consumers very few resources, which speeds up website and loading and lowers the bounce rate. Second, illustrations enable companies that cannot display their specific products, like IT companies, to make good-looking, engaging, and memorable websites. So what's wrong with illustrations in 2022? The problem is that they look similar, and flat and 3D illustrations are now used by almost every company on the market. There's a design trend that is growing in popularity to combat this homogenization. Custom or more authentic illustrations, yeah? For example, intimating children's drawings, so they will stand out from the crowd of similar illustrations. The next one is overuse of gradients. Major platforms like Instagram or Tinder often use design trends like gradients. However, as we have seen, when simplicity is pushed to its logical conclusion, it transforms into elegance. In graphic design profession, simplicity has always been at the forefront. However, we've recently seen some designers overuse gradients and overly busy features, which might detract from the overall design. Gradients may be an excellent method to develop designs, but that if they keep in proportion, right, they can ruin beauty of design.
I see. So as you're talking about, um, gradients, could you please tell us what kind of gradients one can use now, so, like in 2022, not to overdo it?
In this year, it's trendy to use some grainy gradients that have some texture in them, and that looks very good in social media. Maybe we can't use them in printing or in packaging, but it's other story. In social media, we can afford using bright colors, but two or three mixture of them, not so many.
I see. I see. Okay, now let's talk about color patterns. What's outdated in color patterns?
As I've said, simplicity is the key, but more with more vibrancy, right? Clients want designs that stand out and are more conventional. Color schemes that are desaturated or have natural color palette are no longer popular. We can also expect more vibrancy in the design trendings into this year, which will help them stand out from the crowd. Yeah, so dull colors are no more trendy.
I see. And now that we have mentioned a couple of points of what is outdated in graphic design, I want to congratulate you with clapping. And let's move on to all the common misconceptions about working in graphic design. I meet a lot of people every single day who send me CVs of their portfolios, of even like junior starters, and people who are just studying at university and they want to learn graphic design, and they're asking me if we have internship positions at HBC for graphic design. And it's usually we rarely have internship positions at HBC, and we open it like only twice a year maximum. And the first thing I usually say to all the interns or students out there who are interested in graphic design is that you might not like it. You think you like it because you just see the end result. You see like what graphic designers are preparing, the logos and the branding, etc. But make sure you know a lot about the process, because there are a lot of misconceptions of what it is like doing a graphic design. So please tell us what they should know.
So, mention one of them is like things that you like, but times when you have to do what they want to do, not what you are going to do a little bit. And one mention about graphic design is that it's people think that it is simply making things look pretty or aesthetically pleasing. How not always. Uh, Firstly, pretty is a term. Person thinks look good. Secondly, pretty isn't always the objective of design isn't always to make audience either. Sometimes it's to shock the viewer or angry. When it comes, I think about the action you want your audience work backward from this. This will make for impact than just trying look good.
Okay. Okay, so let me just pause for a second. There were a little bit connection problems. I know that the audience hasn't heard like most of what you have said. So let's just sum it up with, with a couple of points. So what has just Tatev said is that, pretty, it doesn't mean functional. I have myself witnessed a lot of situations when we had to create, converting banners for different campaigns, for different products, and we came up with the ugliest banner that just worked. So it doesn't mean that pleasing is already automatically converting. It's all about patterns, it's all about colors, and sometimes the most, the ugliest colors just work on paid channels. Usually especially the call to action buttons on banners are working the best. So please pay attention to, when creating a converting banner, pay attention to the color of the button, that it pops out. And it's either electric colors like yellow or orange. Here Tatev has joined, so please, please tell us about button colors, because I was telling the audience about how important it is that the call to action button on a banner or something that has to draw attention to has to be as as bright as possible. Either it's electric color or yellow or red. What do you think about this?
I think the most important thing that is to pick a combination that allows to the text on bottom to be readable. It depends on from contrast, yeah, and then the whole button should be pretty and stand out from the whole banner, yeah. So the most important thing that is the call to action word and phrase will be readable on button.
Okay, thanks a lot. So the next question would be, what is the biggest challenge facing today's new brands when it comes to creating relevant content, designs?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that with a large number of businesses putting emphasis on digital marketing, consumers are seeing more advertisement than ever before. And the need to stand out and differentiate is becoming increasingly difficult for businesses.
Okay, so what kind of questions do you ask you yourself before taking any project? What do you like? You remember we were talking about doing your homework and doing your research before even starting a project. So what kind of questions do you ask yourself?
Well, inputting this vital for better perspective project and the overall success of the business. Asking questions for clients and getting as possible can allow for a project to be completed faster and meet the client's expectations. There are many questions that you can ask. It depends from the project, but the basic ones are for the first one is what problems are we are trying to solve? What is our objective? What is our goal? And then it is important to know the target, the audience that you are designing for. So ask who are we designing for? You may ask them about their existing brand colors or should you use a new color palette so you can keep their style consistent. You may also ask, will this project be print or web, etc.? Is there anything from your past marketing material that you would be incorporated into the new graphic project? You may ask your client, are there any design styles you would like to use or you would like to avoid them? Or are there any new design elements you would like to try in this project, etc.?
I couldn't agree more, especially about the objective part, because
Yeah.
I have met a lot of graphic designers along the way, and um, we are ourselves as as clients who are asking the graphic designer to perform a task. We have to set the objective as the most priority thing to
Yeah.
think about. But it's very easy to get lost in the process as well, right? So you started with the objective, then in the middle of completing the project, you kind of forget about it. So
Yeah.
it's our job, as the ones who are overseeing the project overall, to remind about the objective over and over, not to for this not to get lost in between. Um, we should always remember that any product in terms of graphic design is just a method to reach the end goal. So we are using banners, creatives, landing pages, if we are talking from the UI UX perspective, in order to do something. If it's brand awareness that we want to achieve for a product, if it's converting, if we want to sell a product, if we want to attract a lead, whatever. So the end goal is that, not the beauty of just one banner or
Yeah.
the beauty of just UI UX design of a landing page.
Yeah.
So
The actions are more important. Yeah.
right, right. Could you please also mention examples of brands who are just, in your opinion, nailing at visual design?
Well, at times we tend to assume that just because you have identity, colors, logo, typography, that it automatically makes you have a great visual design. But that's not true. Likely, there are plenty of brands out there that are doing things right. Brands such as Sonos, Casper, Airbnb, Headspace, Dropbox, Chamonix, to name a few. These brands understand that if your visual identity is disconnected, inconsistent, or an inaccurate reflection of your brand, you just aren't putting out a cohesive brand story.
So that's, now that we're talking about examples, the first thing that I'm gonna do, of course, is to just show our socials to you and get an opinion from you. Just let me share my screen and go here. The first one is our main HBC page of Instagram. So here is what we have. You can see the highlight designs and the overall grid. Could you please describe it? Describe what you see, describe the reason of color choice, pattern choice, and everything.
So first of all, we see the logo and then the highlights that are very in harmony with the logo colors. So this is the one consistency, I think. And then the other posts are connected with similar fonts, color choice, 3D elements, and this makes a style for the page, and I think it's kept very nicely.
Mhm.
Um, and the most important thing in for social media banners is to make your message understandable. Not so many text on images and standing out images, and I think we have all this in our feed.
Okay, so now let me just share the Academy page. So for anyone who doesn't know, Academy page is um, our product. So far, we just have one course. It's called Unpacking Marketing, which is, by the way, um, the second round of our course is going to repeat on April 18 for those interested, and the sales will open on April 1st. So this is the page of the course where we tell more about what it's about, etc. So please tell me what you see here and describe the grade itself.
So here we can see more vibrant and colors and gradients. This is for I think the target audience for students to grab their attention and with the help of these colors gradients, and I think it works very well um, from the results.
Yeah, I agree. And you can see also the highlights, everything, in the same color palette, in the same branding style. And by the way, when we were just discussing within our team, we were really astonished by, the graphic design results of our academy page and the feedback we receive daily from users. So thank you for describing. The next thing I would like you to mention is where and how you find inspiration for designs.
Well, too many deadlines, demanding clients, and no cohesive vision, and even too much coffee can leave you feeling overwhelmed and uninspired. It's not always easy to deliver creativity on demand. Creativity doesn't always come naturally, and it doesn't always come when you most need a head. But there are ways to find your inspiration. Um, for example, you can find it on social media. Pinterest, Dribble, Behance are the biggest and fastest growing image based social media platforms and are great sources for finding inspiration online. Packed with stunning photography and design. They are easy as pie to navigate and search, whether it's inspiration for logo design, a blog graphic, or a color scheme. These are lots of satisfying visual treats. The next way is collecting ideas. It's nice when you have a mood board or a folder in your computer that you always put some ideas there. And one of the biggest thing you can do is start collecting things you have seen, read, or listened so that you found interesting or inspiring. Creating a collection of images and designs will provide you with a reference source for the future projects. Tools like Evernote and even Google Drive can also be a good way to capture things you find online. And the next way that is the most favorite one for me is talking it out with your colleagues, with your friends, with other designers. Get talking with other designers and creative types that chat about the projects you are working on, what aspects you are finding particularly challenging, brainstorm ideas, and discuss sources of inspiration.
Well, that sounds very actually interesting because I think in a marketing agency, every single specialist is going through the same process of finding inspiration for their work, and even though they differ from professional to professional, a proprietor finds inspiration differently than graphic designer, for example. There are still similarities, like the remark about the coffee. I mean, isn't it laughable? Like, let's laugh a bit. Wait. Well, that's the perk of using Riverside. You can click on it, like different things, and we have a drum roll. Remember to use it in the end. So, but yeah, as I was saying, finding inspiration is really important. At HBC, we create a lot of mood boards for different purposes. For example, even before doing any photo shoot or creating social media plan for the next month, the first thing to do, you put together a mood board. So before we go on and talk about other topics, could you please just mention in 2 words how you usually put together a mood board?
Um, well, it all starts with images and color palette. When you define your audience, your goal for what you're designing. For example, if your target is a younger segment, you choose vibrant colors and then you choose your direction. It's easy to find inspiration from images, other projects. Um, and also I think looking for competitors is also a good idea to compare with them or to see what you can do more like what they did.
I see. Okay, and the last topic would be, what software do you recommend for aspiring designers? Um, maybe some basic stuff too.
Well, my most favorite and I think industry standards are Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. But if you find their interface some kind of difficult to navigate, you can easily use Canva. It is more easy and simpler, and you can also create nice visuals there using this software.
By the way, at HBC we always have subscription to Canva just in case, even though professional graphic designers at our team use Illustrator, as you mentioned, and all the other sophisticated tools. We still feel that Canva can come in handy if, let's say, a graphic designer is sick or cannot cannot really create something very, very fast, and our social media marketing manager can just, switch to Canva, put it together nicely, and voila, it's done. So
it's great tool and it gets improved gradually, and I think it's very nice to use it.
yes, I agree with you. And by the way, we also have a subscription to Envato. This is also important for our listeners. We have a subscription to Envato Elements. We can download anything, starting from music, background effects, images, videos, anything there, and use it nicely. If I'm not mistaken, the yearly annual subscription is somewhere around $80. So if you divide it in between months, it's kind of cheap. And yeah, well, actually we have downloaded all our background effects for all our videos there, and also we use it a lot for music effects if we need one for our animation videos or for anything else. And please tell us, how do you stay organized? Like, you have to come up with a way to organize your files, right? Your ideas, what kind of tools you use, or please tell us about it.
Well, it's really hard to work a large number of files, but in fact, that having a good filing system provides some pretty good benefits. I think the first one is that you will design better. Every time you spend more than 30 seconds searching for a file, you interrupt your natural flow and creativity, and stress starts to keep in. It goes without saying that this does your inspiration and work, and you with the with this filing system, you can restore a sense of control over your work. Putting things in order, however small they may be, gives you a nice feeling that you are the boss in the house or on the hard drive. This will spread onto your work, and you will be more confident about your design decisions too. So have a good filing system and be always organized.
Yes, and actually, I want to give a nice remark here because anytime we lose a document and we can't find an image that, well, you have created, as soon as I ask you to send it back to me, it takes seconds.
Mm.
How do you do that? Like, how do you have it so organized that it takes just seconds for you to send me a design?
Um, I always sort my files according to the dates I have created them. So whether I created that file in March or in February, I'll have a folder called March or February, and all my files are sorted there. So for a file, I created it, create a folder, and find it easily.
I see. Thanks a lot for showing the way you work. It's really important for those who are just starting out. And I want to, since we have a very little time left, and we just have a couple of topics left to finalize our session, I want to tell the audience to ask any questions that you might have in the chat so that we come back to the questions at the end of the session and answer them. So our last topics are actually social media related, and I would ask you, what metrics do you use when measuring company success?
Well, I think whether you're launching a display campaign or a paid search campaign, email campaign, or video campaign, what you do prior to launch will be the key to your campaign success. Improvements absolutely will be made over time, but it's much easier to improve a campaign that was built to achieve clear goals and objectives from the beginning.
Okay, and which tools do you find most useful in managing social media channels? Of course, you're not a social media marketing manager, but from a graphic designer's perspective.
Well, as I've mentioned before, we can use Canva, Adobe Illustrator, or Photoshop, and there are some tools that will help you to schedule your posts on social media, like Hotsuite, Sprout Social, Buffer. Allows you to plan and schedule your social campaigns and measure the performance of your content with in-depth analysis. Adobe Lightroom may be a good choice for your if you're using the real photos, not graphics and illustrations. Adobe Lightroom may help you to adjust colors so they will match the exact grid for your feed. And Google Trends is also a nice choice if you want to be at forefront of the latest trends in your industry. Google Trends brings you the latest stories and insights using real-time Google data with specialized categories, custom time range, and worldwide access. I think the befunky.com is also nice. Infogram, quick meme is nice for creating memes for just make someone's day brighter with your post on your feed. And tiny URL. It is perfect for creating short link that won't expire. What's great about this is that it's free and anonymous and won't report any of your information to third parties.
Thank you so much for sharing all this, Tatev. In fact, when it comes to managing the work of graphic designers from project managers' perspective, there are. It's very easy to get lost in tools. There are so many nice tools out there, and the mistake of many managers is not just being lost, but also using too many tools. In the end, you just divide your time within multiple tools, and there is little efficiency in doing so, because you reach good results nowhere in the end. So when it comes to scheduling, use just one tool. When it comes to finding inspiration, three is enough. Organizing, from organizing perspective, how do you assign tasks? All I'm saying now is from project manager's perspective, but it's relevant for all those who are interested in graphic design to know as well. So just make sure you're not overdoing it. You're not over, using different tools. Pick the ones that you think will stick.
You will be getting listeners.
Right, very right. Even we at HBC, as you know, we are using Airtable for
Yeah.
content planning and content, allocation place, and it works amazing. Before that, we were just using Google Sheet. It was good as well, but we just didn't like that you couldn't attach an image to the columns and have it all in one place. We had to send those graphic designs images via email, so too many things involved. That's why we shifted to Airtable. Now we have all our content plan, from copywriting, from copies to design, all in one place.
No, I think Asana is also a good tool when you can see your tasks, your deadlines, and for designers, it's a nice solution because meeting deadlines it's always on your schedule, and it's nice to see what your tasks are and what are your deadlines.
Yes.
And I like the part to mark they completed.
Right, right. I agree with you. So the combination of Asana and Airtable is absolutely working for HBC, but it doesn't mean that it would work for any agency out there or for any company. So every single company has to kind of find their own combination that works, and just stick to that. Do not question every single time whether it's efficient or not, because in the end you will just end up being or feeling miserable because neither of them is as perfect as you want. Of course, neither of them will be 100% have the interface that you wish for. So it's the I think wisest thing to do in here is to just calm down, say whatever software I will use will not be 100% perfect. The only thing that will work is just to stick to one thing or two.
Agree with you.
So yeah, I think we have covered all the topics that we wished for. Thank you so much, Tatev, for your time and for your diligent work and answers. Now I'm looking at the chat. We have no questions, though I think that all those viewers that will watch this video will ask eventually questions in the comment section of our YouTube channel. So if so, I will inform you about it, and you will prepare your answers then.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend. And yeah, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.